This piece of metal sitting in a museum right now proves that everything you were taught about Philippine history is a lie, and Spain knew it, which is exactly why they tried to bury it. What you are about to see is not a theory, not a conspiracy, not someone's opinion on the internet. It is a 1,100-year-old physical document made of copper, verified by the National Museum of the Philippines, the École Française d'Extrême Orient in Paris, and archaeologists from 4 different countries. And what it says will change the way you see yourself and your history forever. We are going back to 900 AD, to a river, to a piece of copper, and to the truth that survived 1,000 years of silence, the Laguna Copperplate. But first, I need to take you to 1989, to an ordinary Tuesday morning, to a construction worker standing in a muddy river who had absolutely no idea he was about to change history. Stay with me, because what happened next, nobody saw coming. If this part of history blew your mind, hit the 500 likes, share your reaction in the comments, and subscribe to Rahul History Vault. Turn on the bell notification, because what Spain tried to erase from Philippine history only gets crazier from here. The Discovery Lumbang River, Barangay Wawa, Lumban, Laguna, Philippines, 1989. A construction crew is dredging the riverbed, clearing mud, moving silt, just another ordinary job. Then one worker's shovel hits something hard. He reaches down into the black mud and pulls out a thin, corroded piece of metal about the size of a large book, covered in strange markings he has never seen before. He stares at it for a moment, then almost throws it back. Almost. He sells it to a local antique dealer for almost nothing. A few pesos. The price of lunch. And for 2 years, this 1,100-year-old document sat in a dusty antique shop in Manila. On a shelf, between old coins and broken pottery, unknown, ignored, almost forgotten by history for a second time. Then, in 1991, a Dutch anthropologist named Antoon Postma walked into that shop. Postma had spent decades studying ancient Southeast Asian scripts. He had seen thousands of old artifacts across his career. But the moment his eyes landed on this piece of corroded copper, his heart stopped, because he recognized the script immediately. It was Kawi, an ancient writing system used across Southeast Asia in the 9th and 10th centuries, connected to the great Hindu-Buddhist empires that once ruled this part of the world. Postma took the artifact straight to the National Museum of the Philippines, and after months of careful analysis and translation, they confirmed what he already suspected. This was not just any old artifact. This was an official legal document, dated, signed, sealed by authority, issued on the 21st of April, 900 AD, in the Tondo region, what is today the city of Manila. A chief named Jayadewa had officially pardoned a man named Namwaran of a massive gold debt, a legal transaction, officially documented, in writing, on copper, in 900 AD. Let me say that again so it really lands. In 900 AD, while most of Europe was living in the Dark Ages without running water, without literacy, without functioning legal systems, there was a court of law operating in Manila. There were written legal contracts in the Philippines. There was a civilized society, 621 years before Spain arrived. But what this document actually says, the details inside it, will shock you even more. Stay with me. The world in 900 AD. Before we read what is inside the copperplate, You need to understand the world it came from, because this context will make everything hit differently. 900 AD, Europe, the continent that later claimed to bring civilization to the Philippines, is in complete chaos. The Roman Empire has fallen. The continent is fragmented into small, constantly warring kingdoms. Famine is widespread. The average life expectancy is under 35 years. Most of the population cannot read, cannot write, has never seen a legal document in their entire life. Now look east. In 900 AD, the Philippines is not just surviving, it is thriving. It is connected to the Srivijaya Empire, the greatest maritime superpower in all of Southeast Asia, controlling trade routes from India to China. It is trading directly with the Tang dynasty of China, the richest, most powerful empire on earth at this time. Arab merchants from the Persian Gulf are sailing to Philippine shores, documenting its gold, its kings, and its sophisticated ports in their records. They called this land Ma'i, and they described it as a place of extraordinary wealth. Indian cultural influence has already transformed the region, which is why the Laguna Copperplate is written in Sanskrit, Old Malay, Old Javanese, and Old Tagalog simultaneously. The Philippines was not at the edge of the ancient world. It was at the center of it. 4 languages, 1 document, and a secret that Spain spent 333 years trying to erase. What the copperplate says. The Laguna Copperplate inscription is written in 4 languages on a single piece of copper. 4 languages: Old Malay, Old Tagalog, Old Javanese, Sanskrit. Stop and think about what that means. In 900 AD, the scribe who wrote this document was fluent in 4 ancient languages. 4 languages connecting the Philippines to India, to the Srivijayan Empire, to the kingdoms of Java, and to the indigenous Philippine world all at once. That is not a primitive society. That is a cosmopolitan, internationally literate civilization. Now, what does the text actually say? The document records an official legal pardon. A man named Namwaran, along with his children, Lady Angkatan and his son Buka, is officially forgiven of a debt. How much was the debt? 926.4 grams of gold. In 900 AD, that is roughly $55,000 to 60,000 US dollars in today's money. A major commercial debt. Carefully recorded, officially forgiven, legally documented in writing. The pardon is issued under the authority of the Datu of Tondo, confirming there was an organized political hierarchy with real legal power. Datu, chiefs, courts, laws, contracts, written records, gold commerce. All of this in Manila in 900 AD. Now here is the moment I need you to really stop and feel. This document is the oldest written record ever found in the Philippines. But it does not read like a first attempt. It does not read like a society just learning to write. It reads like an established legal system, like a society that has been doing this for generations, which means the literate, legally organized Philippine civilization that created this document was already old in 900 AD. How old? Historians do not yet know, because Spain burned the rest of the evidence. And that is exactly what we need to talk about next. Because what Spain did when they arrived is one of the greatest crimes against human history ever committed. Pause and think. I want you to stop for just a moment. Think about everything we just covered. In 900 AD, your ancestors were conducting gold transactions worth tens of thousands of dollars in today's money, writing documents in 4 languages simultaneously. running organized legal court systems with chiefs and official records, trading with China, India, Arabia, and the entire Southeast Asian world, while Europe, the continent that claimed to bring civilization to the Philippines, was living in mud huts. Let that sink in. The story you were told about Philippine history, that civilization arrived with the Spanish ships in 1521, it is one of the most deliberate historical lies ever told. And here is how they told it. What Spain erased when Spanish ships arrived in the Philippines in 1521, they did not find an empty land. They did not find a primitive people waiting to be saved. They found a sophisticated, literate, internationally connected civilization with over 1,000 years of documented history. And that terrified them, because a civilization with its own history, its own laws, its own gods, and its own identity is a civilization that does not need to be colonized. So Spain did what every colonial power does when it encounters a civilization that exposes its own lies. They rewrote the story. Spanish missionaries systematically burned Philippine written records. They banned the ancient Baybayin script. They replaced Filipino names with Spanish names. They replaced Filipino gods with Spanish gods. They replaced Filipino history with Spanish history. One Spanish friar, Juan de Plasencia, admitted in his own writings that he personally witnessed the destruction of Filipino written records, and he considered it a service to God. Think about what was lost in those fires. How many documents, like the Laguna Copperplate, were written on paper and bamboo and cloth, materials Spain could burn? How many histories, how many names of kings and chiefs and scholars and warriors that we will never know? We will never know, because they are gone. But Spain made one critical mistake. They were so focused on burning paper and bamboo that they did not think about copper. They could not burn copper. And so, buried under the mud of the Lumbang River, the Laguna Copperplate waited for 1,089 years, patient, silent, safe, until a construction worker's shovel found it in 1989 and gave Philippine history back its voice. But the Laguna Copperplate is not alone, because archaeologists have been finding more, much more. And what they found next changes everything again. The archaeological twist, wonder, and discovery. Here is where the story gets even bigger. Since 1989, piece by piece, archaeologists working across the Philippines have been assembling a picture that is even more extraordinary than anyone imagined. The Butuan boats. In Butuan City on Mindanao, researchers excavated ancient barangay boats from underground. Large ocean-going vessels, carbon-dated to between 300 AD and 1300 AD.